Welcome, Manchester United fans. We have missed out on what seems like our dream target. But first, missing out on our first dream target, or so the media will have you believe. Manchester United had the bad news tonight that Semenyo has signed a new contract at Bournemouth. I'm absolutely devastated. I don't know. It's going to take me some time to get over this one. It's going to seriously take me some time to get over this one. However, we move. July the 1st has started. July the 1st has well and truly started. We have seen so many links, honestly, more links than a chain vest, I'm telling you. But with links comes all of the other bits and pieces. We've got plenty to go through tonight, by the way. We've got plenty to go through. There's Rashford links. There's Garnacho links. There's Gyökeres. Plenty of news on Gyökeres. There's also Diego Leon. So where do we start? Well, the first thing we start with is a special person. Somebody I'm delighted. I've been waiting to have a bit of one-on-one time with this guy for a long time, and it doesn't involve alcohol. So here he is. Welcome, Lawless. How are you, mate? I think you're on mute, bud. I can't hear you, buddy. Is it me?
There you go. Right. For some
There he is.
It's defaulting to not my mic, which is annoying. But as I was trying to say, I'm glad to finally make my debut on the new channel. Good to be here, mate.
Mate, you did what I did a couple of weeks ago. No, I think it was last week. I had Potts in the chat. I was talking for 5 minutes on mute. It was brilliant. And I was absolutely ripping up what I was saying. I was going for it. It was pure heart, pure desire. And then I got a comment saying, we can't hear you. And I thought, I nearly turned the stream off there and then. But anyway, how you doing, mate? You well? Obviously, West Ham not doing what you'd think they do in the transfer market at the moment. We can obviously get onto both teams, but how's your summer looking so far?
Shit, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, listen, for one, I'm not dealing well with the heat. I don't do well in the heat. And then I also can't stand the heat that we're getting in the transfer window because, like I said, it's just been misery on top of misery on top of misery. Like, there's been no positivity coming out of the club at all. And it just gets worse every day, you know, just hearing about us apparently willing to sell Kudus to Spurs. So that's good news, isn't it? That's just what you want to hear.
It's been a bit of a weird one in the sense of City have obviously done what they've done. I mean, I'm so happy they lost last night, by the way. Everyone's been telling me that this is the new City. They're coming back and they're taking names and they're going to do their bits in the Premier League. They looked dicey last night. But City have done their business. Liverpool have obviously done their business. Arsenal, you have to say, are actually doing their business now. It looks like the Gyökeres links potentially going to be getting that over the line. It's for clubs like us. I mean, you know, we've got Cunha and Bryan potentially is coming soon, but it's a very slow start, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with how disastrous our seasons were last season, out of all the clubs, like we should be on the front foot. We should be trying to rectify problems and get players in early, and you know, but it's just slow. And with us, and I think it's similar like with you, there was him, but I don't think yours is as bad as ours. But all this sell to buy stuff, we need to move players on, we've got to sell players, and that seems to be stalling our transfer window. You know, so that's the frustrating part, and that seems to be why they're so desperate to sell certain players that we would rather keep, because they've just got us in a mess. Honestly, I don't know how they're running this club, but yeah, the early business is vital, because you're just going to lose these targets to other clubs that are serious.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, just before we get into it, a couple of hellos. Lucas is going to be absolutely buzzing. West Ham fan has been mentioning you a few times. Carl, Lucas. Hope you're well. Moxie, one of the OGs. In fact, Lucas is an OG. Carl's an OG. WW Freeman is an OG. Bryan, indeed. Andy is an OG. Yes, and there we go. The Bryan Brigade is officially taking point. before I get into it too much, we are literally waiting and waiting. This seems like the worst kept secret in football, the Bryan and Mbeumo deal. I can't use Mbeumo too much. We've settled on Bryan. But what are your thoughts, Lawless, from a rival fan, with us linked to Bryan and it looking like it's going to take us, I think, to the next level? Do you think it's a good signing for us?
Yeah, I do. I think I rate him. And I'm really interested to see how we will do under Amorim's system. That's going to be the big thing, isn't it? If he can make, it's funny saying the step up, considering they finished so many places above Man United. But in general, no matter where Man United are in the league, there is this pressure that comes, and I think that has been a big stumbling block at Man United. Is no matter how bad you are, the badge, the shirt still has pressure on it. And that's why it makes it so hard. We talk about so many players that come to Man United as really good players, struggle, leave, and then refine their form. Like Anthony, mind-blowing. So that's that. If I was a Man United fan, I'm a bit of a pessimistic West Ham fan. Some people want to call me negative. But that would always be in the back of my mind on any signing. Like, I could never get too excited. So I'll be interested to see how he makes that step. But it's a move in the right direction. Clear out a lot of these, these prima donna players that you've had, these toxic locker room, dressing room players, and just try and get some fresh talent in that's not tainted by the old Man United, and try and start afresh. And hopefully for you guys, he's one of them.
No, completely agree. I mean, actually, before we go on, Valsey, hope you're well, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you, Jamie, as well. Hope you're well. And West Ham forever. Putting the irons there for you, Lawless. Putting the irons there for you. One of the players that we talk about with a bad attitude, and we've mentioned, we've spoke about this player on several occasions on 12th Man, is Rashford. Now, today has been linked with Bayern Munich, which, I mean, that's come a bit left field for me because he's practically been begging to go to Barcelona, as everybody is aware of. Any interview he can do in Spain, doing these bits and pieces, talking up Yamal. I actually feel like if he can get to Bayern Munich, I think that's a great move for him. I think he'd be fantastic in Germany. I'm not his biggest fan, but I think the German league would suit him. He wants to go and win trophies. That's his thing. He wants to play abroad, win trophies. Well, Bayern Munich ticks both of them. I don't think the Barca moves for him. They can't afford him for starters. What have been your thoughts on the way Man United have handled Marcus Rashford, from him coming back now from Aston Villa and then moving on to hopefully a pastures new?
Yeah, obviously Amorim was very clear about him when he first come in, right? And the things in training and his lack of sort of application. So loaned him, and he started well, tailed off a bit to the end, but it is just about trying to get him out as soon as possible, because that's a lot of wages that you're clearing off the books, and a decent transfer fee. And again, someone that's a bit jaded by, and tainted by the old Man United. So, yeah, trying to push him and get him out as quick as possible is key. However, any of these clubs, it's going to be tough in terms of his wages. That's the thing. Like, could Bayern are a big club? Would they be willing? I suppose they could. I mean, they're paying Harry Kane silly money. But would they be willing to pay Rashford? What is he on, like 300 grand a week?
350, isn't it? Between 325 and 350, yeah.
Yeah, well over value. Like, so I think you're right. I think you'll be good there. But would that be shrewd business from Bayern to play someone like Rashford, who has struggled in recent years, 350 grand? Or would he be willing to take a wage cut?
Yeah, and that's when we talk about Marcus Rashford as the player, and we talk about his attitude towards the for this, and he
well, is it me that's frozen, or is it you? I don't know which one of us is his internet's. Tell us in the chat if anyone can hear me. I don't know whose internet's messing up in this heat. Maybe it's me. Maybe I've got to refresh. No, or is it Dan? It might be Dan. Is it me? It's Dan United. Dan United. Okay, right. If Dan United's internet's gone, then I will. I'll keep the ball rolling. I'll keep it moving. So yeah, I don't know. Like people, here he is. He's back.
Don't know what happened there, guys. Don't know what happened there.
I didn't know if it was
Jesus
me or not
Christ.
for a while. So he's gonna sort it out. He's on the move.
There we go. There we go. Never go live, eh? Never go live. Don't know what happened there.
Was it something blocking the router there? You had to just move that. Now it's fine.
Honestly, mate. Honestly. Sorry. Sorry. So where we were with it, as I said, clean break for Marcus Rashford, clean break for Manchester United, and that's it. Then we move on, I think.
Yeah, that's the best. So for you guys, hope you can move him on. There are other players there that you probably want to move on, but a big summer rebuild needed for sure. Like, he's frozen again. Midfield needs rebuilding. You've got, defense to go in. The attack, you started on the attack. So yeah, like a big summer. Who was someone in the chat remind me, because they did sign someone, didn't they, before Mbeumo? They signed. They obviously Mbeumo's they're trying to get in, but they got Cunha. That was it. Cunha's in, which is a really good signing. Would you take Rashford at West Ham? Welcome to my new channel. I've inherited it now. It's my channel now. Dan's frozen out. Would I take Rashford at West Ham? With the way we are at the moment, I would take him on loan. I would never pay his wages. Yeah, like for us to pay, we won't do it, and he probably won't take the wage cut. But I would give him a go as a player. But I wouldn't be like all for it. I'd be very skeptical, because we kind of don't want players that think they're bigger than the club at West Ham. Sometimes you hope that he has a Rashford effect. They're not Rashford, sorry, a Lingard effect. You would hope that. Although we see how that ended up, But yeah, I think those sort of big time Charlies, I'd rather not. He's back.
I don't know what happened there. I tell you what.
It must be the weather. It's the heat. The Midlands heat.
It must be. I don't know what it is. It's been final week. Don't know what that is.
No, it's me. It's me. It's me. It's the Lawless effect.
What you were tailing off on your own there, Lawless. What were we saying?
No, there was just a question in the comments asking if I'd take Rashford at West Ham.
Please do. Please, absolutely do. Absolutely do. Jesus Christ, we've done that dance before, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know something? Cooler tonight, and now I'm absolutely sweltering after running up and down the stairs and shouting at Mrs. Robinson about the bloody internet. So apologies about that, chat. We're back.
She's not on the phone, is she? She's not on the phone, and it's using up the internet.
Tell them, stress. They got the Hoover. It must be that. That's doing it. The bloody Hoover. Right, we're back. We're not going to have any more issues there. Right. So, Lawless, apologies. Live TV for you guys. Apologies. So, Lawless, with regards to West Ham then, so where do you see your transfers moving this season? Well, obviously, Graham Potter's new in at the club. He hasn't had the players, I think, that he wants to take your club forward. What would you say is the direction that you need to be moving?
Young players with pace. That's the direction that we need, because right now we have old players with no pace. So we need to go in the opposite direction of where we've been. One of the slowest teams in the league, easily. I would probably say the slowest. And that was a big contribution to why we were so boring to watch, because we just moved the ball so slowly. So yeah, I think that's the key. Bring down the average age of the squad, get hungry players that are decent on the ball and quick.
Yeah. So obviously you've lost in the summer. Well, I say you've lost. You released Kufal. You released Cresswell. Antonio, is that a thing that's actually gonna? Are you gonna keep him now, or
no? He's officially out of contract today, so he's gone. Ings is gone, and one more, Zuma. So 5 players released, cleared up a load of money off the wage books. A lot of them, needed to go, and now we need to replace them with, like I said, hungrier, younger, quicker players. But we seem to have to sell some players to get anyone in. I still don't get it. But so if we have to sell Paqueta, we still don't know what's going to happen with his trial. That's soon. If he gets banned, then we're screwed there because we lose a player and don't get any money for him. And then, Kudus, which if we sell him to Spurs, I'll be done. I'll be fuming.
How much is that looking at with the Zuma? Because I mean, obviously with Kudus, because it wasn't so long ago he was linked with United, Arsenal, everyone wanted him. Then all of a sudden we've had these links with Chelsea, and then we've had links with Spurs, of course. I mean, Chelsea are buying everybody, but how much does losing a Kudus? And I know that Lucas isn't as asked about by losing him. How much does that change the way you play football and what you can essentially go on and do?
Yeah, the thing is, he was poor last season. I think he scored like 5 goals, like night and day from the previous season. But he still was a player that would try to make something happen, would still try to create, try to drive. So, yeah, it does change the dimension. Obviously, now we're in the pot of time. We're on a rebuild, so it's a good time for that. So if he does go, we need the right money. So it's not like I'm not going to lose sleep over him leaving per se, as long as we get a good fee, and then he's not going to Spurs because you just don't want to see, like, he's still a talent. There's still talent there, and you don't want to strengthen Spurs. Like, you just don't at our expense, especially like because they're talking about 60 million, and there has to be a Spurs tax. Like, if people can say that's fair market value, you do not sell one of your talented players to a rival for fair market value. Not that we should sell it anyone at all. I'd sell him Mavropanos. They can have Mavropanos all day long. Like, you can have him for 5 mil, whatever, 2 mil. If I have it for free, I'll drive him there.
I think we're in the same situation, aren't we? Because this new Premier League, this new way of doing things, this new having to sell, to buy, and I'm sick to death of hearing it. I mean,
why aren't we doing what Billy's bloody team are doing and cheating and selling our women's team? Why aren't we doing that?
Honestly, well, this is the thing. And also, for the chat who don't know who Billy is, Billy's a Villa fan. I remember Billy in the 12-man chat going off at Don about this, going off at Charlie about this is ridiculous, it's another loophole. And now all of a sudden, well, it's all right, it's not so bad. I don't understand how these clubs get away with it. It's just getting worse.
Yeah, it is. It's like after the Chelsea one, right? You thought they would have been like, oh crap, that's a loophole we didn't know was there. Quick, close it. And they've just sort of left it open. And it's clear like they're just selling these women's teams to themselves. Like, you could sell anyone to yourself. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, a ridiculous thing. Like, you can't own a sponsor and sponsor yourself, right? So that's a rule. But you can sell a women's team to yourself. How does that make? And they've valued their women's team, and as Billy said, it was a stake. It wasn't even the full women's team. So they've valued a portion of their women's team at £50 million. Are you having a laugh? Like, and this is the thing. Like, if they're just going to leave this there, then if they're going to let Villa do it, then everyone should just do that. And I have no reasoning why you wouldn't just do that. If that gets you out of PSR crap and you can spend.
Lucas knows, mate. Lucas knows.
He knows.
Completely correct. Couple of points in here. Jamie says, see Rashford and Garnacho and Sancho only have themselves to blame. They don't have a way back to United. I take Anthony back because he's not a twat. Look, emotionally with Anthony, he's gone about things the right way. He wants to leave the club, but as a player, I feel like he's not a Premier League player, and I feel like he's done his part now. He's gone out there. He's played some good football at Betis. It's time for us to shake hands and say goodbye. And Chappie says, Højlund is young with pace, putting an offer, Lawless.
Do you know what? Like, over a year ago, I would have been tempted, but nah, like, he's... nah. I'd take him on a loan as an option. He can't be worse than Ferguson was for us.
Lucas said that.
Yeah, like if it was a loan, I would give it a go, but not as our like main striker signing. Like it would be, I'd have Fulkrug, him, and then like a main striker signing.
It's a weird one because with Fulkrug, does Potter fancy him? Does he rate him up top for you boys? Because I read so many different points on this that he only sees him as someone to come off the bench and cause havoc. Well, you watch him every week, mate. Obviously, I know he's had his injury problems this season. And I was quite excited to see him join the Premier League because I like him. If he stays fit, is he someone that you can get behind as leading the charge?
Yeah, when Potter said that, it caused quite a bit of controversy among West Ham fans. A lot of people weren't happy with that because a lot of people rate Füllkrug and think that no, he shouldn't just be a bench player. For me, I agreed with it because I rate Füllkrug. I think if he had stayed fit this season, he would have been class for us and scored some goals. However, at 32 years old with fitness issues, we should not be going into the season banking on him as our plan A. No chance at all. Like that, the mindset has to be he's like the plan B. He's the bench player. We're going to sign a starting striker. Now, nothing's guaranteed. You go in that mindset and you sign a player. Doesn't mean that Füllkrug's definitely on the bench, but that's the plan. If Füllkrug plays himself to start and he does better than whoever we sign, then he's going to be the first choice. That's how competition goes. But there's no way we should be content of going, do you know what? We've got our main striker, so we'll just sign a backup. And then you just get someone subpar because you think you don't need you don't need better than what you got. That would be the wrong attitude. So I fully agree with him. I don't trust Füllkrug for a season up front. And again, I want more pace in the side, and he's not it. He likes to drop deep and link up, and it's he's a good footballer, but not for me. Like in terms of starting every week.
There's Brendan's come in with a question as well, and don't worry, guys. I have seen your comments after that fluster of trying to get the bloody internet. Of all nights, when I get my main man Lawless on, the internet does its thing. But we're getting there, and we'll get back through the comments. Brendan says, Lawless, are you happy with Potter? I thought you would have done better. Before you answer that, this goes back to what you said before about these older players and trying to shift them on. United and West Ham, in that sense, we are so alike in the sense of we are trying to get rid of a lot of players that have been taking up spaces in our club that are nowhere near good enough, and now trying to bring in that new way. Potter's obviously come in and wants to bring a complete different brand of football that West Ham have been used to, I think. Same with Amorim. So are you backing him? Are you happy to give him this full season and let him see what he can do if he gets the right transfers in, or is it kind of up in the air with you?
Yeah, I back Graham Potter. I don't put our current mess under him. He's come at a really tough time. Like I said, slow old squad that he's inherited, had to try and it shows you that it's the players, because we've looked the same under the end of Moyes, Lopetegui, and then the start of Potter. So he's got what he has got. Like you could argue he should have done better, yes, but to say that he's not the man because how we've been, like we're an absolute shambles. And I said on my channel, right, that any fans next season that are focusing on Potter out, when with the owners are operating like they're operating, Sullivan's doing what he's doing, he's being thrown under the bus, Potter. He's not being given the tools he needs. It's clear. And he's been put in a crap situation. He's not going to get backed. He's not going to get back to the level that he needs. We don't rebuild we need. And you just, what you're going to expect? Like, so for me, unless it's like disaster and we're losing every week, change of manager is pointless. Unless we can get Klopp or something, for me, there's no point in just like, oh, we start poorly and we sack him. Like, unless he's been given the tools, then what can you do? It's the same way you was with Amorim. Amorim has been horrendous, like same way. But fans, Man United fans, probably rightly are saying, well, look, we've had the worst season ever. However, we've got a lot of crap we need to get rid of. He needs to get his players in. He needs time. And if the owners aren't going to back him, then we have to look at the owners and we can't be looking at Amorim. So both of those, like Amorim and Potter, are in very similar situations there. So what can you do? Like you're just going to change it in the summer and hope it gets better. Like the manager change is going to wave a magic wand and fix all the problems. It's not how it works.
It's been the way Manchester United have been for years, though, hasn't it, mate? To be fair, we just chuck money at it. That's all we've done. Chuck money at it. Brought these so-called world-class players in, hope that it would spark something, and it hasn't happened. That's why we're in the situation we are now. As Andy says, the money Ten Hag spent on players has destroyed us. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Also, Moxie says, going back to Villa, so Villa have sold their women's team via their own holding company, and they can't really do anything as Chelsea got away with it. And again, I think this will happen more and more. It's almost that break glass in case of emergency scenario. If we're kind of struggling, let's just sell that. We can make the money. Lucas says, as you were alluding to with Fulkrug, he is the only striker you've got. Big up Queen Sophie as well. She's here, and she's here with a message, guys. Make sure if you're new, subscribe and hit those likes. We are doing very, very well. We are on the road to 500. It is absolutely fantastic how well we're doing with this. And it's all been because of the people and support I've had with the likes of Lawless, with the likes of the 12th Men people, and also with you fantastic people. So we're only just getting started here. Andy asked a question as well about, do you think clubs will come in for Jared Bowen as at some stage? Because he is. Look, let's be honest. Bowen is one of the best wingers outside the top six, isn't he? You probably put him up there, Lawless, as one of the best, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, he's easily our best player, and it's interesting that there's been interest, but there's been no concrete approach. And I think part of that is, I don't know whether it's just known that he's very content and comfortable, and it would take a lot of money to get him out of West Ham because he's not going to push for a move. He's not going to cause a fuss. He's very happy. He's married. He's got his wife and his kids there now who, from a West Ham family, Danny Dyer, all of that. Loves the club, got the captain's armband. So it wouldn't surprise me if someone did try and make an approach. I think, Salah signing a new deal and staying at Liverpool has been a big help for that. Yeah. Because I think had he gone, I think there would have been an approach from Liverpool for sure. That would have definitely, because they've been linked with him for a while, but they've never made a concrete move. But yeah, like next season, we need to give him some bloody quality around it because he carried us on his back last season. His back must be in pieces from carrying us. So we need to give him some support.
It's the same thing as attitude as well, though, isn't it? When you look at the people like Jared Bowen and a pure love for the club, and you actually, as much as people hate him, I get people hate on him, but Bruno's done that for United. You can see he wants to do well at the club. He wants to succeed. Again, rival fans, quite rightly so, he does rile a lot of people. But you need these players in these clubs that absolutely want to give their all to take you forward. Now, it's all about for Manchester United, and I wonder if it's the same with West Ham. Manchester United seem to be bringing in players now that will help, I think, burden that load that Bruno's been carrying. So you'll have a Cunha who can create. You'll have the Bryan signing, which will be a brilliant one for creating. You've got Diallo. Then you've got Bruno, of course, as well. So it's kind of like with Bowen, I've seen it a few times last season where you kind of feel like he is trying to do it all on his own because he's got nothing else around him. So in the signings that you are looking at, who would be your ideal signings to come in and bring around him?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question because with us, all we've been told is we're broke, PSR, sell to buy. So it's like I haven't even been like thinking of names. We've linked with Dio from Slavia Prague, who's supposed to be a real talent. I haven't watched him much. So yeah, it's going to be a case of just trying to find gems in Europe. Like if I look at the Premier League, we just don't have the facilities for that. Like if I look at any players, like Delap is someone I would have loved to have taken if he weren't on a higher trajectory of like Chelsea. Like we were linked to him at first, but then I had no idea that he was going to be looked at by Champions League clubs. Jamie there's talking about Jacob Ramsey and Morgan Rogers. Oh, he's talking about you, Dan. It's so confusing. Yeah, because I'm like, there's no chance we can get those players. Yeah, like, but other than that, like players in the Prem or the Championship, yeah, there's no one that jumps out to me. And that's what I'm saying. Because of our situation, I haven't even bothered window shopping.
Sad state of affairs, that is, mate. That you're in that situation. Sad state of affairs. I mean, going on Jamie's question here, I'm not even thinking about that. I'll be honest with you. I am that confident that Bryan comes to United. I don't think they would look the biggest fools of the decade with all the twerking they've been doing for him, and the fact that Bryan has been saying so many times he only wants United. I feel like the deal's done. And also, I don't think a Jacob Ramsey or a Morgan Rogers sees himself at Manchester United. I don't think we're that club for him. But It does kind of tee us up though for Aston Villa though, Lawless. I don't know what they're doing this summer, and I don't know where they go. I mean, like, let's say the inevitable happens. Let's say that Manchester United sign Watkins. Still can't believe I'm even saying that. And say Emi Martinez goes. Well, that's a squad rebuild in itself, mate.
Yeah. Them two. If you get them two players alone, massive upgrade in both positions. Like, let's be real.
100%.
Watkins is far better than anyone else you got up top, and Martinez over Onana and bloody Buendia, whatever the bloody his name is. Two of the worst goalkeepers I've ever seen, and we had Roberto at our club. So yeah, that you should be going all out to try and get Martinez and get him at your club. Just the goalkeeper, and I had this argument with some Man United fans because they was trying to say, like, man, he was going, shout out to this man, Talk to United. He was trying to say to me, it's not a priority goalkeeper at the moment. He's like, we've got so many other positions, and we can't rebuild every position in one window. And I'm like, but that position is such a weak point. Yeah, I get it. You need strikers, all of that. It shouldn't be hard. There are a lot of keepers, even for cheap right now, that you can sign as an upgrade. Because if you don't want to go and splash and get your main goalkeeper now, you sign a competent goalkeeper for lower money, who then next season becomes your backup to the big goalkeeper that you spend if you can't sign the big goalkeeper now. So I just think that you have to try to get an improvement on your goalkeeping positions this season, because Onana, both goalkeepers were horrendous.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with Onana, right, we talk about gambling, right? We talk about having a gamble here. And I would, if I was Manchester United, I'd absolutely be looking at potentially bringing in a first choice. I know we've got to sell to buy, but bringing in that first choice goalkeeper and making Onana sit on the bench. The first couple of weeks, Onana, I think, has got the mentality. He will say, I can't stay here. I need to go. And he'll get a club. He'll get a club. If he goes to Saudi, he could go back to Italy. He will get a club. But I kind of feel like Manchester United's problem for so long has been, instead of being the club saying to the player, you are going, it's as simple as that, off you go. They asked the player, they said, are you interested? Would you mind leaving? And I genuinely feel like if we're going to be this new Manchester United, if we're going to be this cutthroat system, I mean, look, Sir Jim can sack a staff member in the office like that. So why can't we just go to a player and say, you are no longer needed, off you go? If they sign Emi Martinez, I've said this on this channel so many times, what he brings is not just his goalkeeping abilities. He galvanizes the attitude at the club. He's a World Cup winner. Do you know what I mean? We don't have winners at Manchester United. We need to build that philosophy in. So I feel like that would be an absolute move. And a question I wanted to ask you, in fact, let me just go on to this comment with Moxie. Brentford wants 65 million to match the Cunha deal. United will pay it, but they're just trying it on. Just pay the 65 million and get it finalised. Yeah, I agree with that. Completely agree. Brendan agreeing about the goalkeepers. Anana's on about 190. I swear he's on about 180, 190, which is just fucking ludicrous.
Absolutely. That's 190 too much.
It is, honestly. But the question I was going to ask you now is, I asked Pete and Wolfie this, and it seems like now it's quite obvious Manchester United are going for a striker. That is now obvious. They've pretty much sewn the Bryan one up. We're just waiting for the little bits and pieces with that. Then they're being linked with Premier League proven strikers, which I absolutely love, by the way. I think too long have we gone out there and taken a punt on a youngster and hoped that, like Martial was one, then we had Højlund was another one. We've done that too many times and paid, I think, far too much money. Bringing in these Premier League strikers that have played the game there, that have scored goals in the Prem. If we get that striker sorted, Lawless, if we get a decent goalkeeper in, and I still think we need a central midfielder, I'm still saying, and I get told I'm being pessimistic here, I still say Europe at a minimum has to be our target. And I don't care what Europe looks like. I don't care if it's Conference League. I don't care if it's Europa League. I don't think we're anywhere near Champions League. What are your thoughts if we get those over the line?
Yeah, it has to be. Look, the target, I think, regardless if you're a Manchester United manager, if you're a Manchester United team, that has to be the minimum target. And whatever Amorim does get, again, like if he's shortchanged, you have to look at the owners, but still the target should be do the best of what you got and trying to get into Europe. So Yeah, but I think you'll be a lot more confident if you get those two positions sewn up, because you're not like leaking, like a sieve at the back. You're not wasting chance after chance up top. So you're putting away more chances. You're conceding less goals. It comes to reason that you should be much higher up the table. And yeah, if you're getting a Premier League proven striker, it's a good approach. It's going to be difficult. Like I say, if you can get Watkins, great. Calvert-Lewin is free, but we linked with him. I'm not interested in Calvert-Lewin personally, because he's out of contract and he don't want to stay at Everton. But yeah, it's just thinking about who else is out there like that you could get apart from those names.
Yeah. Do you know something? People keep mentioning Calvert-Lewin. I think he'll end. I'll say this with chest now. I think he'll surprise people. I think he'll end up at someone like a Newcastle or a Villa or us. I think someone will take I think if we get too far into the window with the signings not being made that everybody wants their first and second choice, it wouldn't surprise me if he turns up at a big
Newcastle makes a lot of sense, because obviously, look, they're not going to get anyone to start over Isak. They're not going to improve over Isak. No. They've got Callum Wilson's gone. Almiron's gone, because he played up top sometimes for them. So him coming in as a backup for them, I think that could be fine for them. I think that kind of makes sense. But for us, of where we are, both of our clubs, and trying to rebuild and trying to sort of someone like a Calvert-Lewin, I just think is not just the wrong type of player, but the wrong person. I mean, I looked at his goals, like he had one purple patch season and then like a half decent season.
Was that about 6 years ago?
Yeah, and like he's just been dining off that ones, and it weren't like he scored like 30 goals and got the golden boot. Like I think he got like 18 or something like that, or 17, and people were like, "Oh wow!" And then ever since then, he's just been, he's just been dining off that. And then you've got, I don't know if Ivan Toney's at that stage where he's ready to come home and he's had enough, like some.
I hope so, Lawless. I'd love him. I think he's got United written all over him as a striker. I think he's got United written all over him.
Yeah, that's it. Like, because you get these, they go to Saudi, they get a bit of money, and then they want to come home, and then like the club's having to cash in. So it wouldn't hurt to explore that and inquire if you're looking at Prem proven, because it's so limited. And Antonio, he's Prem proven. He's free. he only broke both his legs in a car crash and 6 months ago. So I'm sure it'll be a good audition.
I tell you what, mate, that's terrifying for you. Imagine you have to choose right now between Antonio up top or Calvert-Lewin. Who are you taking?
I'll just stick with Antonio. I'd rather just keep him at the club. It's so funny. Like I wouldn't put it past us to end up re-signing Antonio by the end of the window. We did it with Colton Cole. We said to Colton Cole, like, "Yeah, right, we're releasing you. We're done with you. Thank you for your service, but you're over the hill now. Goodbye." And then, like, we didn't sign a striker. Then, like, deadline day, we ended up getting Colton Cole back.
Can't beat it, mate. You can't beat it. Honestly. So Sophie's come in with, look at Garnacho. He has been told to leave. It's his birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday, Garnacho. Maybe you'll grow up finally. Maybe you'll start acting a bit more mature. You little. Honestly, my thoughts on that, lads. And they can't sell him. Huge mistake in getting into the media about what Amorim said to him. Look, I don't blame Amorim for the Garnacho problem at all. This has been coming. This Garnacho attitude issue happened long before Amorim was there. There was talks about him liking and sharing the United Stand comments when he'd been dropped by Ten Hag. So I don't put this on Amorim, and I actually put this. We go back to players' attitudes. I put it on Garnacho. He wants to stay in the Premier League. He said that. He's had offers to go to Italy. He sees himself as a Premier League player. Chelsea obviously getting Gittins in. I think that's killed that transfer. What about you, Lawless?
Yeah, I mean, and on I think one thing is, I think where Amorim should take a little bit of blame is when he come out and said, like, didn't he say something along the lines of good luck trying to find someone to buy him or something, like who's going to buy? Like, you're kind of undervaluing your player there. Like, you want someone to buy that player. You want to come out and say, do you know what? He's such a great talent. If it can click for him, like I believe, like even if you don't mean it, like you just say that in public. Do you know what I mean? So you're not just putting down your own player because the manager's saying that. Other managers are looking at it going, "Do I want that at my club?"
Yeah, he's very. I will say this: he does strike me as a very emotional manager, Amorim. A very emotional manager. I think we've seen it. We've seen it after games where he will. I mean, I remember us beating City, and he come out and they said, "You must be absolutely buzzing." And his response was, "Well, no. Why can't we do this all the time?" I do think there's emotion now. I think sometimes it gets the better of him, and he is still young in managers years, isn't he? But as Andy kind of states here, do you think the pressure on Amorim could intensify if they don't get rid of these free players? Is there a world, Lawless, where Manchester United at the end of the transfer window, it's shut? We've seen it on Sky Sports News. The clock has gone bang, and Rashford's still there, Sancho's still there, Anthony's still there, and who's the other one? Who's the other one? Garnacho. Yeah. So is there a world where that actually happens?
Yeah, I think there definitely is a world where that happens because you've just got 3 problem players that are on big wages. I don't know what Garnacho's on, but I know Sancho and Rashford are on big wages. And you seem to have problems with the current club. Unless you take a massive cut price deal, unless you're willing to do that, willing to pay them out their contract, there's absolutely a world where clubs go, do you know what? Like, I see the talent there, but I'm not willing to pay what they want to have something that could be a problem for me. Like there's a risk, there's a big risk there for buying clubs. So I can see an issue where you'd have a problem selling. And if that happens and he's still got those 3 players on the books, I can't see a way back. Definitely can't see a way back for Rashford under Amorim. A lot seems to be water under the bridge there. Garnacho, no way is there a way back. I'd be shocked if there was a way back for him under Amorim. Sancho, Mr. Freedom Fighter, bloody Braveheart. Again, I would be very surprised if, and I don't know whether his problem seems to be so much more so the club than Amorim. So whether Amorim, because he left under Ten Hag, right? Was he loaned out? Was he loaned out under Ten Hag? Yeah. So that's one player that you think maybe Amorim could try to get the bet, but then that's hope, that's wishful thinking. So yeah, that it's a tough one. I think if you have them 3 players, unless he just sends them to train with the youngsters, I can see it having a negative impact on the team again. And then you've got the circus again every week. The reporters, what's happening with Rashford? What's happening with Sancho? Where's Garnacho? Why aren't they playing? Every week he's gonna have to answer the same questions about these players. You just don't want that.
Yeah, he's made a point of saying that, hasn't he? Since being at Manchester United, he's never done so many interviews. Kenvy with Kenvy updates. I was going to say with an update. That's your name, bud. Sorry. Good evening, guys. What's up with Bryan? Bryan, we are just waiting for it. Ken, we are just waiting for it. The second it comes, that's when we can rejoice. Moxie says, Newcastle do need a backup striker as they only got the young lad, Asula. So DCL may be a squad option, to which Sophie said, absolutely not. DCL was on like 100k a week. As a free agent, he will demand 100k. No thanks, let him go elsewhere. Do you know something? I'll get on to the other points in a second, guys, in the chat. That really bothers me, that does. Not what Sophie said, but players who struggle at clubs sometimes, are out of form, injured all the time, can go to other clubs and demand wages like this. If he is genuinely out there saying, well, I want 100k a week to play somewhere, what are they being told? And this goes back to a lot of players nowadays. I feel like their agents make it 10 times harder for them to even do something with their career. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It's always about get more money. Try get more money, no matter what. You've had a terrible time. You need a club, but demand more money. Even though you haven't earned it, even though you don't justify it, you should get more money because you get more money, I get more money. And it does derail a lot of careers because there's good moves that players miss out on all because of money, all because of wages. And they take the wrong move and it just derails them. Or they go to Saudi and they're miserable and want to come home, like they used to go to China and was miserable and wanted to come home because they was all their decision was driven about money. But your legacy, that's, I think, what's really important, because you're making mad money anyway, and you save your money, you do things right, you can have a career after football. Your legacy, I think, is a big part of your career. You have a short career, you look back on, what can you say? Oh, like, I finished fucking third in the Saudi league. Like, wow. Like, who cares? And I think you're right. The agents and the pursuit of money, I think, is a big killer of a lot of careers in football.
There's a couple more here we'll go through, and then there's something else I wanted to ask you about. So quickly go through these. So Moxie says the Casemiro to Saudi deal has gone a bit quiet too. Was hoping it would be sorted before they return to pre-season. Yeah, that's not happening now. He's staying. It's all come out. He's staying at Manchester United for 1 more year. Sancho only got to wait a year. He won't be bothered. Sophie, there is news on Sancho. I don't know if anybody's seen this. In the last sort of 3 or 4 hours, they've been coming out saying that he is now back in full talks with Juventus, and it would. There's options on the table for Manchester United with this, because there is talks about, can they do something with a swap with a player. The 3 that they've highlighted is Ray, Vlahovic, and of course Douglas Luiz, who I absolutely want. Douglas Luiz. I think Manchester United get Douglas Luiz. That is a signing of intent. He's Premier League proven. I think he fits into that side sublimely. But the main thing is, hopefully, I pray, I beg, I fucking beg, Lawless. I'm so fucking bored of this guy, Sancho. Just get him out, honestly. And then Sophie then says about Saudi will wait to sign Casemiro. Lloyd Kelly, we got as a free agent and put him on 150k. I think he's at Juventus. Juventus are mopping up these problem players.
Yeah.
Antonio as well, demanding more money after we backed him and helped him through this difficult period, and now just wants more money elsewhere. Is that true?
Yeah, well, it weren't so much they wanted to pay rise. So obviously the guy had a horrific, like he was really on a massive decline before his crash. He'd been poor. He had that car, like we would, and this is the thing, we would have released him if he didn't. Definitely would have released him if he didn't have the car crash. So he has the car crash, breaks his legs, battles back, amazing to get back to fitness, but hasn't played for a long time. May not be the same. We've looked at it from a sentimental point of view of, do you know what I mean? He's been here a long time, like 10 years. Top goal scorer, great servant for the club. We want to give him a chance to say goodbye to the fans and all of that. Offered him a deal, which I believe was like a pay-as-you-play, but with a minimum guarantee, like with bonus or whatever. And he wanted a much bigger minimum guarantee. He felt that, he deserved that. And this is the thing, like I said, we only offered it to him out of sentiment. There's no way. If Creswell broke both his legs, he'd have been offered another deal. That's all it come down to. And I sit there and I think, who out there is going to offer Antonio what he wanted from us? Who's going to take that chance? You'd be mad.
But then doesn't that go back to, is this his agent? Is this partly his agent? Is this his agent saying, no, we want to get you more here? I don't understand. Is this the way football? I hate it. I hate it, Lawless. I hate how much money is just completely killing the way that players look at a football team anymore. And you said there about they want to give him the chance to say goodbye to the fans. Give him a fucking testimonial. Give him a testimonial. Give him his day, all for him, and then off you go. Because
just do that. This is the thing. And he's come out and he said he believed that he deserved it for all the years he's given to the club, all of that. The guy was paid over $100,000 a week for most of his career by West Ham to do what he did, right? Which was score 8 to 14 goals a season or whatever. And so he was rewarded for his time.
Yeah.
He was paid very well. So it's not like he, did everything out of kindness of his heart. Yes, he was with us for a long time, but those times come to an end. You have to know as a football player, when it doesn't make sense for the club, we're not a charity. If we give you and keep you on another year with that money, well, it hampers us what we can do in the transfer window, giving that money to a player that can contribute. And I think that's the problem. People see it as a charity, and it's not. He's 35 years old. He's had a great career, but it's time for him to move on, and he'll always be welcome back at the club. We're happy to see him in another capacity, but he's just not going to contribute on the football pitch in any meaningful way. And you can't do that with players. Same when people asking about Luke Shaw, he's been here a long time. You might as well keep him around.
Yeah.
I thought he'd gone. I thought he'd been released.
No.
He's still there.
He's got like 3 years.
Did you give him like a 15-year contract or something?
Honestly, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Just quickly, guys, if you're new to the channel, I can see a few new faces. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you like. I don't get it with Luke Shaw. Now, I've been quite vocal about this, and this is where I see Luke Shaw's future at Manchester United. I feel like his days of being that left wing back are done. I think he will be seen predominantly as that left-sided centre-back now. Because, let's be honest, he can't stay fit for more than half a season. I feel like every time he goes on a sprint up the field, I feel like he's going to drop and drop down and keel. I feel like there's stages with Manchester United. We're struggling to get rid of 4 players now, for fuck's sake. But I kind of feel like, is this the next phase? Once we've got this out of the way, then the next phase is we get rid of like the Luke Shaws, the Harry Maguires, people like that we can then bring people in for their positions. But Luke Shaw's made an absolute steal at Manchester United for a guy who had 18 months of his career at United where he was top class and was one of the top left backs in Europe. Now, again,
we talk about for him, it's a mentality issue, and he's not applying himself enough in the gym, in training, to be at the fitness levels because he's clearly a talent. We've seen it. We know what Luke Shaw can do, but for too long he's looked overweight and unfit and hasn't contributed. So that seems to be a him issue, rather than he's been unlucky with injuries. It just seems like a lack of application.
And it's also not just that, mate. They seem to have this blind faith in him because whenever there's post-match talks, he's one of the first people out. So he must be held in a high regard in the changing room, in the locker room. He must be seen as one of the leaders, which baffles me as well. You lads absolutely tore me to pieces. The fact he got himself fit for England for the Euro final, and then we didn't see him for 6 months. I think he played... He played in November, like a game and a half for Amorim, and then was out for the rest of the season almost. So, again, with this new United, we keep hearing this new fucking United that they talk about. Well, players like Luke Shaw, if I'm them and I'm seeing this, I'm thinking I need to, this season, get as fit as I can and stay fit. And I need to prove my worth because if this is the direction Manchester United are looking at moving forward in, then I'm going to be a casualty. And I've always backed him, but I kind of had hoped, I prayed that Southampton would stay up so that they could do bring him back home, and that was it. Off he goes into the sunset. But the wages he's on a week, Lawless, I think we're stuck with him for a minimum of 12 months, a minimum of 2 years.
That's insane. When did you sign him under Fergie, didn't you?
No, he was under Van Gaal, wasn't it?
Oh, Van Gaal, seems like he has Johnny Evans, I think I'm thinking of. Yeah, Van Gaal. So Van Gaal was the guy after Moyes who was there for 7 months. So it's close enough to the Fergie era. He's there for, oh my gosh, he's stealing a living. And you've had a lot of players like that. Maguire, I think he seems to have been sort of slightly rejuvenated under
I agree.
Amorim. He looked a lot better. I know, there's been times he's still got that mistake in him. He's still got that harebrained moment in him, but he's looked a lot better and scoring goals and doing madness on the wings. Like that game where he was fucking Ronaldinho.
But I take what you said there, mate, and actually I agree. I feel like if you look at Maguire as a whole last season, I think he won us more points than he cost us. And I think that when you look at Maguire mentality, I think that's why Amorim's quite rightly so said, right, I'll keep him. I need to keep people like him around the club who want to win, who want to be better. So let me go through these comments quickly. So Brendan says, we're glad to see the back of him, but never understand clubs being interested in Sancho. I absolutely agree with that. I think his attitude's absolutely appalling. And then we've got Moxie Shun saying Juventus, as I said there, yep, supposedly in talks over a deal. Moxie says also Antonio works hard and puts himself about, but he's never going to score the goals to change a team's season. And Lucas follows that up with, it's difficult to give Antonio a testimonial when the club snubbed the opportunity to give Cresswell one. Could do one for both players at once, though. Yeah, could have a half each.
Yeah, they should do. But this is the thing, because we're in a rented stadium, I guess it's hard for us to say, oh, please give us an extra date at the stadium. When we've agreed a a certain number of dates. But I don't know. Without you, we're not in Europe. Maybe they could negotiate it, but the club won't do any of that.
It can't be like that, surely, Lawless. They can't be saying, "Oh well, we'll put the testimonial on the 5th," or you can't do that. S Club 7 reunions on that night. It's that bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a shambles. Like, it's an absolute shambles. I hate that. Big reason why I didn't renew my season ticket was my just disdain for the stadium. But just on the Sancho thing as well, it says a lot that Chelsea had him, and rather than pay extra 20 million to keep him, they gave you 5 million to take him back. When, like, if he's that talent to get Sancho, like, say the Sancho that was at Dortmund, like the talent that he is, for 25 million, it should be seen as a steal. They had him all this time. Don tried to hype him up at times and all of this, but they said, here's 5 million, here's Sancho, bye-bye.
Do you remember the gob we used to get in that from the Chelsea boys, from Don, from Charlie? Freedom fighter, he's gonna come, he's gonna do bits for us. He was appalling, absolutely appalling. Yeah. Hello there, Ifane. I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong there. So John Victor, the goalkeeper. Yes, we spoke about him last night. Cheap option for a number 2 from Botafogo. And he also says Cunha and Mbeumo, Victor, Gyökeres. Gyökeres is going Arsenal, I think, by the looks of it, which is...
Is he, though? Because one day it's Sesko, one day it's Gyökeres. Like, it just changes every single day. It really does. It's getting
bizarre, these links with players, mate. Luke Shaw, left side centre back, I think he'll do a job, to be honest, less up and down the wing. Yeah, but we want him up and down on the pitch. He seems to be up and down in the physio room more than anything there. I agree with Shaw 100%, mate. Was always in with the players who were trying to get out of the club, and he's on big wages. And then, yes, welcome from Mauritius, and you are a United fan for 35 years. So you've only known heartache. You've only known heartache like me. Andy says there. And also we've got Coy's mate says, mate, it cost us the final, Luke Shaw. There's a lot of people that said that, There's a lot of people that said playing Luke Shaw in the final of the Euros was a massive, massive mistake on Southgate's part.
Yeah, big time. This is the thing. When people go for the same players, managers, and Tuchel seems to be making the same mistakes.
Brendan thinks that we're in better shape than Shaw. He hasn't seen us on a night out, Lawless. Fucking hell.
Yeah. No, he definitely hasn't. Listen, I've had a lot to drink this summer. I need to shift some pounds, but I'm not far off Luke Shaw, probably.
Do you know what, mate? That night after our 12-man bloody reunion, I was on a train at 7:30 next morning back up to Shropshire. I was hanging. I
don't know how you lot do it. Every time you come London, like your trains are always super early. Like LB does it, and
I tell you why, mate. I'll show you. That's why.
All right, get your ass back here, sharp.
Get your ass straight back up. What else have we got here? So we've also Glazer and Jim out. Big flop. I need Qatar in. Money like PSG. Unfortunately, that's never, ever going to happen. Never, ever going to happen. And Andy says, never forgive Shaw for the England fiasco. Lucas says it's difficult with Shaw because when he's fit, he's so good. Yeah, but unfortunately, when I mean,
we used to say that about Andy Carroll. On his day, he's unplayable. When is his day? When is the day? When is the day Luke Shaw's fit?
Correct. Chappie says, can United claim insurance money if a player is injured? They can, but it's big injuries, I think. Is it like, and it's only if they're like injured on international duty, I think they can claim off the FA, can't they? I think. Is it
I don't think
it used to be that way.
Yeah, I don't think if they get injured playing for or training for Man United.
Just picture Amorim on the phone to Aviva. Yeah. So I'd like to make a claim, please. Yeah, it's Luke again. Yeah. 12 months he's out for this time.
I'm sure we got something for Dean Ashton. I'm sure we got.
Well, he had to retire because of that, didn't he?
Yeah. That's it. Like, so I don't know. I don't think we got anything for Antonio.
What a shame that was with Ashton, Lawless. I remember that overhead kick against United when you'd just gone down to 10 men against us, and he was a player. I feel like the injury was awful, wasn't it? I did it on England international. I just wonder if he'd have stayed fit and he'd have had that run in the Premier League. I think he could have been a top class striker.
People said he would have ended up at Eurolot, because that was before the downfall.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. How old was he when he retired? Was he 24? 23.
I thought he was a little bit older than that, wasn't he? I thought he was like mid-20s.
Was he?
Because he had the injury, but he tried to play on a bit longer before he finally called it quits.
Big shout out to Sophie as well. Yeah, make sure you're smashing those likes and subscribe. If you're new, both free helps the channel grow massively. Honestly, thank you so much, Sophie. I really appreciate that. Before we finish up, there's a couple of things I want to go through. We'll go through these comments first. So, last 4 to 5 months when he came back from injury, Maguire has definitely been better under Amorim. I completely agree with that. I said this all along last season. Lawless can vouch this. I would have chucked him up top a couple of times at the end of last season. Anything than bloody Rasmus. Luke Shaw has made a glass, another Jones for the club. That's a good take, Nick. Good take. Nick, I can see that you may be new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, my friend. Waste of valuable money that can be used elsewhere. Shaw is the world champion, back and forth to the fridge. No, that's me, mate. That's me. This summer's been very hard on me. We are united, says Luke Shaw, Dorgu, Amas and Leon. What's the plan with the left wing back? Do you know something? You teed me up there. We are united, because I don't know if you've seen this, Lawless, what this Diego Leon has come out and said. He's been filmed saying it at an airport just before he come over to Manchester. People in the chat know that I always come with notes, mate. I always come with notes. When the notebook comes out, you know it. I mean business. So he's come out and said, and bearing in mind this kid's 18, okay? He looks 28. He looks, proper beefy, like he's strong, and he comes out and he says, everyone thinks I'll go out on loan, but I don't have that mindset. I'm going to kill it in pre-season, and within 1 or 2 games I'll already be playing with the first team. I must say I love that attitude for a young player to come in and say that. You have the different sides of attitudes with players. You got Garnacho saying, I think I'm Ronaldo. He doesn't say it, but that's how he looks at it. Whereas you've got this young lad who's never played in England before, never lived in the country, he's Paraguayan, and he said, no. I'm not here to take part. I'm here to have a go. I think that's fantastic. Do you know anything about him?
No, I don't. But like you said, I love the attitude. I love the mindset and the mentality. You need young players in that, with that belief and that desire to go in and smash it. And he seems to know nothing's handed to him. You are going to have to go in pre-season and smash it to get that opportunity. He knows what he needs to do, and he believes he can do it. That's what you want.
Yeah, I think he's with the question that was asked about the left back side of it, left wing back. I do feel like Amorim's looked at that and said, because I know we were kind of linked for a little bit with Estepinian, and I thought there's no way we're going to spend that money. If we're a sell to buy club, Brighton are not selling him on the cheap. Brighton know exactly what to do with selling players. I feel like he's set at left wing back. I feel like he's got the Dorgu there. He's got Leon, and he's got Amas, who will be competing to be that understudy. Look, if these boys do well, if they do well and take their opportunities, they're all below 22. I think there's a real possibility. I feel like the Manchester United could be set there for a long time. Now, look, obviously we don't know. He could come in. He could be like that guy you meet on a Saturday night who says, "What, you need a player tomorrow? I'm mint. Oh yeah, I used to play youth football for Liverpool or Arsenal," and he turns up and he's absolutely dire. So he could be that, but I think sometimes these young players who come and say, "Oh, do you know something? It's my dream to play for the club. To be here is an honour." I'd rather players come and say, no, I'm here to fucking do something. Do you know what I mean? I'm here to take out. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. He's going to be joining us. So he's landed today. He's going to be joining up with the pre-season training, and I believe he will go on tour with them as well. I think it's good. I think the signing's good for the money side of it. He's still so young. If this is the direction United are going, they're looking at the analytical side of it now, instead of going out there and having 100 scouts looking all over the place, using the analytics like Brighton have done. There are a lot of teams that wanted this lad. I feel like this is the right sort of signing, especially for the price, and I think it's a good direction that they go in, Lawless.
Yeah, and look, this is what we're apparently trying to do under Potter and his analysis. Carl McCauley was with him at Brighton and all of that, So yeah. That's the way to. I think that's the way to go. If it works for Brighton, it might not work out like it is for them, but you've got to try something other than signing names and goal records. Is really deeper.
I'll say something else on that, right? And I don't mind saying this. I know United's big club in name, but at the moment not in reputation at all. I'll say this: I wouldn't mind if this Diego Leon comes in, spends 3 or 4 seasons becoming this absolute incredible left wing back, left back, and then a club like Madrid comes in and says, right, we're going to pay the big money. I don't mind that. As long as we're making the money, I couldn't give a rat's ass about that. We're not that club at the moment that's bringing these players in to win the league. So look, absolutely develop them and make money. Absolutely fine with that.
Right, that's what Brighton do.
Yeah, well, yeah, Brighton have been doing it for years. And do you know what my argument with Brighton is, though? Is like, what's their end game with this? Are they just always going to be that club of bringing in some talent and then moving? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Bath Time says, is it Bath Time? Gee, I can't fit in mine. That's how much I've eaten over the bloody summer. Says, you lot panicking about transfers, tactics, or just melting in the heat? Melting in the heat is
bit of everything for me.
Yeah, mixed bag. Moxie Shum with the notebook. Everyone loves that. Jason Carter says, Arsenal supporter here from Destin, Florida. Big up Dan Lawless. Dan and Lawless, see you both on Potts' channel. Much respect. Thank you, Jason. Great to see you, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, honestly, there's been so much support from everyone's channels coming on here. It's been phenomenal. Bryan will hit the ground running. I've no problem with that. Bath Time then says, every South American comes in with the Hyperbole. Ugarte was talking about being a street fighter. I wouldn't read too much into it, but it is better than hearing Xerxes say, I don't score goals. Well, that says it all.
Yeah, do you know what? I think the South American hype has died down a lot from what it used to be. Remember when you signed a Brazilian, and just the fact that he was Brazilian, everyone was like, oh, we got a Brazilian.
One word, mate, Kleberson. We had Kleberson. He was fucking awful. Fucking awful.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. But then, do you know something? I know Argentina won the World Cup the last time round, but South American teams aren't as big, I feel like, anymore. Like Brazil are kind of struggling here and there. I kind of feel like when we get drawn against these South American teams, like internationally, I don't look at them anymore and go, fucking hell, we've got a Colombia coming up. It just doesn't look like that anymore for them. Yeah. Nick's a new subscriber. Love that. Thank you very much, mate. Was looking for a fresh, unbiased United channel supporting Man United since before the Fergie era. Very, very good, Nick. Very good. Mate, we're on the journey together here. The journey to 500. And obviously, of course, the Queen will always applaud that. Michael Adele says, who do we go for if Gyökeres goes to Arsenal? I honestly think it's Watkins. I think Watkins is the player that Manchester United are making the moves with the most at the moment, which still stuns me that Aston Villa want to get rid of him, but there's that. Lawless, what is your... Yeah, that's a great question, Brandon. That's a great question. What is your expectations for West Ham next season? League position, cup run? Because before you answer that, mate, we've known each other about 3 or 4 years now, and we've gone through both of us attacking European competitions together, fighting about who's going to qualify for Champions League, who's going to qualify for maybe Europa League, to now the both of us going, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My expectations have never been lower. And obviously, expectations will change after we sign some players, perhaps. Although my expectations were, as people like to remind me, ridiculously high at the start of the season based on the business we did. And that didn't work out so well for me. But regardless of what we do, they're going to be low. Like, as it stands with the squad we've got, my expectations are relegation. Like, so my expectations on us, on Potter, will be stay up, right? Yeah. If we don't do any, we're going to do business. For me, the maximum, the ceiling would be try to compete for Europe, which means try to be in enough points distance of that Conference League position, right? So within a few points of it. I can't, like, with the state we're in and the rebuild we need, I can't have high expectations unless we go out and somehow do a madness in the window, which I don't think we will. It's going to be low expectations. Just hope that gems we find overachieve and turn out to be really good. So it's tough. Cup run, we're not going to win it. So I don't care. Like, a lot of West Ham fans love a good cup run. They always say, oh, a good cup run. You got to love a good cup run. It's like, yeah, I love it if we win it. Yeah. Like, if we don't win it, it's just a load of extra games. Like, and it's good, for certain away days and things like that. But it's just more football that the players have to play that don't achieve anything. So I would love a cup run that maybe gets us to a final and then we have a chance to win it, but it's not going to happen. So for me, I'm just focused on stabilizing in the league.
What have our clubs done to us, Lawless?
I know. Honestly, I'm broken.
If you could have seen us 2 years ago. Oh God, you could have seen it.
The Race for Europe show. Oh, it was fire, man. It was something else. And now we're broken men.
I can remember being able to lose 7-0 to Liverpool and still qualify for Champions League now. Jesus fucking Christ. Original Bro says, is it 100% that Bryan, remember guys, it's Bryan, the Bryan Brigade. Is it 100% that Bryan is coming? Look, nothing's 100% in life, but I would like to say that this is 98.99 done. And fan there for you, Lawless, with Andy. Andy's been a great supporter of this channel. It's been great to see him sticking with us night in, night out. Bath Time says, are you lenient towards Amorim? Yeah, of course I am. I back the guy. I will take the fact that we finished so poorly last season. I've said this before, so I won't dwell on it too much. I kind of feel like the best scouting mission was done by him on his own last season. He come in, identified players, knew exactly what he wanted to do, and now we're seeing that now with the players he wants to get rid of. Sophie says 12th, around 12th for West Ham.
I'll take that right now. I'll take that. It's not sexy. It's not fun, but if we have the team that we have now, yeah, I'll take that. I just want to be, and it's progress. It's we got a process. The process is to go from 14th to 12th. But get me away from. I don't know though, because I was saying this, like we debated about why this season for a lot of fans was the worst ever season, even though we've been relegated and been in like relegation battles. We've never really looked like going down this season, but it took a lot of the jeopardy out of the games. So everything, like for me, it was just right, finish above Spurs and Man United, which is just a little mini win. It's a little something that you can kind of say, oh, well, at least we was better than them. But it just made every game like there was no jeopardy to it. There was no like a win, you'd win and you'd be like, all right, we won. Like, so even the relegation battle was a little bit more exciting because we
were involved in that. We were both involved in that for fucking months at one point.
Yeah, there's something riding on it.
I genuinely at some points last season sat there and thought, hang on, we could actually go down here. This is getting ridiculous. But look, at the end of the day, we finished the season. Hopefully the rebuild is on. Moxie says, thinks everyone has been a bit rough on Ugarte, to be honest. He didn't go bad and just faded towards the end of the season. Another who will be better in a full season in the Prem. A lot of people went at Ugarte. There's another comment here about Ugarte, actually. Why does Ugarte get hate? He's a great ball-winning CDM. Is what we need. Jury's out on Ugarte for me. I think he had a nice, decent spell around Christmas, and I think he did struggle. But again, it's his first season in the Prem. We've seen players come in and do this, take a little bit of time to get adjusted to it, and they end up doing okay. Lucas agrees with you, says we're relegation contenders at the moment. And then We Are United says, for the sake of us United fans, we really need another few transfers in the next few days. Don't know about you, but I'm dying out here. Completely agree. Before we go, Lawless, because there's so many chats come in now all of a sudden. It always seems to be when I'm about to go. They know. Sophie says, I honestly think Potter will do good at West Ham, but it'll take time and patience, which is one thing that you are willing to give by the sounds of it.
Not a lot of fans are willing to give that. Not a lot of fans are willing to give that right now. So it's going to be tough, and we've got a tough start.
This is a great question. Do West Ham wonder what would have happened if they'd have managed to get the nominate?
We get this a lot, right? Look, I was one of the fans that was like, I don't know about these transfers because they're going to come in on big money. I was already had my doubts over where we were as a club. So we give Moyes money and these players, and then he's not here for the long term, and then we're stuck with these players. Hindsight is one. So you do think that they probably would have done good. Like McTominay has done wonders in Italy. He probably would have been a good signing for us. Maguire, again, Moyes probably would have done well there. So yeah, I think maybe things would have been better. And like I said, I would have had to eat some humble pie, but we'll never know. We'll never really know. But yeah, a lot of West Ham fans still talk about it every time. Like they do well. Oh look, Moyes, but they didn't want to come anyway. Like they didn't want to join. They had the chance and they didn't fancy it. So what could we do?
Isn't it funny though? With we talk about Maguire. So I've sat here and berated Sancho because I said, "Oh, he's not going because it's about money." Maguire did the same with you. He said, "I want to be paid by United," and I haven't said a wing about him. But I think it's a case of shoulda, woulda, coulda. You just don't know. I mean, look, these players. McTominay's done fantastic in Italy, but it suits his style of play. I firmly believe that. What stuff you don't know? You don't know. Brendan says, "I never forgive Ten Hag for the 7-0 despite the 2 cups." Yeah, that was a horrendous feeling. I had to go on 12th man the day after that. Do you remember that? I had to sit there and take my medicine. Jason Carter's subscribed and has hit the like. Thank you very much, Jason. Much appreciated. As does Queen Sophie there. Lopetegui has a lot to answer. Is the answer to that question? Sorry, Lawless. Sophie says, "You want
which?
I'm assuming the. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me have a look. Which question? Which question, Sophie? Because you've. Oh, hang on a minute. No, it won't be that one.
I must have said something that was a question, and then Lopetegui's the answer.
You wanted him, didn't you, at the start? You were happy with Lopetegui?
No, so I didn't want him when we were linked with him. Why did West Ham do so bad? Okay, yeah, Lopetegui is a big reason. I didn't want Lopetegui. I was publicly that I didn't want him, and it was an uninspired appointment. However, like it's weird. I saw these signs like in preseason early on. It was like, okay, like we're doing something, and I just was like, he's here. Let me give him a chance. And it was, in a lot of ways, football was kind of similar, but it was like Moyes would never make substitutions. Like, so Lopetegui went the completely opposite way and spammed substitutions like crazy. And at first it was refreshing. Okay, he wants to change things. He's trying things. And then just like 6 months in or whatever, you're like, he still doesn't seem to know what his best team is. He's still chopping and changing every week. Like, how can you, there's no progress. There's nothing I can say from day one to, day flipping 200 or whatever. This is better. Like, we're better in this position. And that was the big problem with him, and I think that was a big issue, and just a lack of direction. And like, again, the transfer window we signed, and this is what people say, we won the transfer window, because on paper we signed really good individuals. You can look at those individuals we signed, you think like Wan-Bissaka, who was really good for us, won our Hammer of the Year award. Really good signing. Todibo, Man United wanted him, highly rated. Somerville, highly rated. Fulkrug, European credentials, everything, banging in goals. We signed a lot of players with pedigree. I think Rodriguez, when we signed, I think he was a World Cup winner. So we made all these like shrewd, good signings. But in terms of the balance of the team and what we built as a squad, that was the issue. And I think we was just everyone, us, media, everyone was looking at the individual names that we signed, not how unbalanced our team was, not how slow our team was as a result. And I think that was the big issue.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because you get these managers like Lopetegui who he's had decent stints everywhere. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes a manager and a club just aren't a match, and I think that's what happened there, isn't it? I mean, I think you'll be fine with Potter. I'd like to think that with the clubs that are coming up, and there are some clubs that I think will struggle this season. I think you'll be okay, mate. I genuinely do. Nick says, if United doesn't get Bryan over the line, it'll be a total disgrace from this board, who are meant to be the best in class when brought in. Don't worry about Bryan. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Guys, I will have to. I'm just about to bloody cough there myself. You give me that, Lewis. I'm gonna have to say goodbye soon, because we've been on longer than I anticipated. We've been on an hour and 20 minutes. That's what happens, Lawless, when we're not at each other's throats on 12th man. We have fantastic conversations, and when you're not being very, very, very. How do I put this in a polite way? Pissy about losing a shuttleboard.
No, listen. Pissy, it was honestly Dark Arts FC was in action there. If you see that, it was pure Dark Arts, time wasting galore. That was us. Now you've brought up that's still a sore point for me.
The rematch at Christmas, mate. The rematch at Christmas.
Yeah, got to be done.
And just quickly there, Evra. There we go. Lights gone off on him as well.
I'm not paying my electric bill.
That was my internet before, mate. Evra and Vidic had the 2 worst starts in the United shirt. It turned out all right. Completely agree with that, Moxie. And Chappie says, do you think the amount of overseas players has contributed to the demise of the England team? No, I just think we've got poor managers. I think we've got the players there, but I think the managers have just not been good enough.
There could be a part to play in it, I guess, if you look at a lot of the successful teams in Europe. Like and you look at the clubs, they're probably made up of a lot like Italy, So many Italian players, mostly Italian players. Germany, a lot of Germans. Brazil, lots of Brazilian. Like I think there's a part, but you said like you said, the manager is a big part, and the coach, and we've struggled with coaches as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's been a great chat, mate. Been a great chat.
Enjoyed it, mate.
Before you go, make sure you hit Bryan Brigade in the chat there before we go. Always the best way to say goodbye. Lawless, before I let you go, my friend, where can we find you, mate? And what have you got coming up?
Yeah, well, you can go check out. I did a video earlier with Nikki on West Ham Fan TV about the Kudus and Paqueta situations. And I did a quick update on the Kudus one yesterday where I was in a beer garden enjoying a nice cold fruity cider. And yeah, we'll be going live Friday, probably doing some videos now in between them, but live on Friday as well. So I think Friday super busy. I'm on Potts' channel with Tobes, reuniting with Tobes. That's going to be fireworks on Friday, 12th man.
I voice noted him about a month ago about the final. He replied. I sent him one back. I've never heard of him since. I must have said something.
Yeah, he's not the best at messaging.
No, that's brilliant, mate. Guys, listen, that's all we got time for tonight. Thank you so much for sticking with. Remember, on the way out, if you have not done already, make sure you subscribe and like to the video. And if you're watching this on the replay, if you've managed to get through the shit electric problem that we had at the start, make sure you drop a comment in there. This is us saying over and out. Dan United, Bryan Brigade, oot!